again is Upstream Health with Ify. I hope you all are doing well today. And today we're gonna be talking about metabolism. Okay, I have gotten a lot of questions about metabolism, weight loss, how to maintain a healthy weight, or some questions like this. I have lost some weight, I gained it all back, or it's difficult for me to lose this weight, and I've been dieting and I've been doing exercises, or a lot of questions on weight loss. So I want to go or answer that question looking at one main thing. What is metabolism? Because metabolism is very, very important when it comes to weight loss. Okay, so there are so many things that might be involved, okay, when you are embarking on a journey of losing weight. Okay, we all have different body types. We have people have chronic medical conditions, underlying medical conditions. People on medications like insulin can make you put on weight. So people are under stress. Increase in cortisol can make you not lose that weight. People are not getting enough sleep, which will also increase your cortisol, your stress hormones. That will make you gain weight, okay, or not put off that extra weight. And people also have issues with their gut health. Remember, gut bacteria, your constipation, your fiber, your bowel movement. So if you have chronic constipation issues, that can make weight loss journey a difficult one. So just look at it, there are a lot of issues involved. So you have to pick up your case and view it from different perspective. Like if you have chronic conditions, find out if your medications, like I said, if you're on insulin can make you gain weight. If you are not active, like not exercising, not going to the gym per se, like if you're not being active, walking around, taking some steps, you might not be losing that excess weight. So metabolism, what is metabolism? So metabolism is basically, let me make it easy, basically how fast your body breaks down food and uses up the energy, how fast your body expends energy when you eat. So let's put it this way. Let's say you eat a food made up of carbohydrate, made up of protein, made up of fat, made up of all the vegetables, starchy vegetables, and you also drink water. So let's look at the pathway of digestion, right? So when you eat this food, your complete nutrient dense food, okay? Digestion starts from the mouth. So carbohydrate gets broken down right from the mouth. As soon as you start chewing that, the enzymes in your saliva will break down starch, and then the food goes down into your stomach. Other enzymes like some protein gets broken down there, hydrochloric acid also, they form up the food in form of chyme and move them into your intestine. So the intestine is where the major digestion takes place. So let me make it easy for you. So when your food gets into your intestine, a lot of enzymes are released into your stomach, like let's say bile acid will break down your fat into a more absorbable form, and protein also gets broken down, carbohydrate gets broken down, and then your intestine right now will absorb this food nutrients and push them into the blood, right? So let's start with carbohydrate. When you eat carbohydrate, or when it's broken down, it gets broken down into what? Glucose, and then stored in a form called glycogen. Usually it gets stored in the liver, all right? And then your body will break up the food, use the energy it wants to use, and the reserve or the remaining, it gets stored as glycogen in the liver. But when there is excess, like when you're eating carbohydrate in excess, sugar in excess, it's gonna store glycogen. But when the liver doesn't have enough space to store that glycogen, it converts that glycogen to fats. Can you see that? So the fat now will be stored in fat cells in your adipose tissues. Okay, so excess carbohydrate, even though it's it's broken down to glycogen, and your liver stores it, and the rest, the glucose you need for energy. If that is done, but excess of glycogen, because your liver doesn't have enough space, the insulin is gonna convert that excess glycogen to fats, right, and store them in fat cells, like we call it around the organs, the intestines, subcutaneous fat, the adipose cells, right? So what happens to protein? So protein, when you eat, also is broken down to amino acid. So protein, basically, amino acid, they're used for cell building, for building up your cells, your muscles. That's why when you talk about muscles, you need protein to build up your muscles. Remember, when you have more muscles, you have a higher metabolism. So if you're not consuming the required amount of protein in a day, you are not building up your muscles, which means your metabolism is gonna be low, which means you're not gonna be burning up that energy very fast. So, and again, when you eat excess protein, especially people who are consuming this in form of powdered in excess, when you have consumed protein in excess amount, the excess amount can also be converted to fats. Can you see that? And then let's talk about fats. Your fat also gets broken down to tiny amounts called fatty acid. Your body needs that also for energy, but it keeps that also in reserve in places where you need that, like your brain needs the fat also for brain function. And again, remember that fat also, if it's in excess, is gonna be stored up as what? Fat. So basically, carbohydrate, protein, fats, when you have that in excess, is gonna be stored as fats, even though they're gonna be broken down in their different components, carbohydrate in form of glycogen or sugar, and the protein, amino acid, and the fat in form of fatty acid. But when you have an excess, they're all gonna be stored as fats in fat cells. So now let's go back. Why is your metabolism low? I just explained some of that. When your metabolism is low, I just said one, when you don't have healthy muscle built up, especially when you're not consuming the required amount of protein. Like if you eliminate protein in your food, you are not building your muscles, and you have the risk of gaining more weight. So when it comes to weight loss journey or maintaining a healthy weight, you need the 3 food components: the carbohydrate, the fats, and you need the protein, you need water. Excuse me. So let's go back to insulin. You heard when I mentioned insulin. So insulin is the big guy here, right? Remember when I said it, that when you have excess of glycogen, the insulin will convert that glycogen in the liver into fats and get them stored up in fat cells. So what do you do now? Remember, I think most of my videos, I always talk about insulin resistance. Insulin. You shouldn't get your insulin spiked up. When your insulin remains in your blood for a long time, it causes insulin resistance. So when you eat, let's say when you eat a carbohydrate food, right? Your pancreas releases insulin, and it helps in breaking down the carbohydrates, right? If you consume higher amounts of carbohydrate, your insulin spikes. Or each time you eat food with starch, even we have some starchy vegetables also, your insulin spikes. So what happens is your insulin is like the one that holds the key to breaking down fats, because it actually converts your excess starch to fats. So when your insulin is spiked or high in the blood, you cannot break down fat. It's like a key. It locks up fat breakdown, or the breakdown of fats called lipolysis. So that way your metabolism is low. Okay, 1 minute. So whenever your insulin spikes, it means that guy insulin has the key to lock up your fat depot, which means you're not able to break down fat. So you're making use of the energy coming from carbohydrate, from starch. So you're using more of glycogen as your source of energy because your insulin is there in the blood, all right, controlling the breakdown of starch or sugar or whatever you call it. When you eat too much of starch, consume sugar, high processed food, the insulin is always in the blood. And it gets even worse when you have what is called insulin resistance, which means your insulin at all time is present in your blood. So which means at that time when your insulin is spiked, it means your fat is locked up. You're not using fat, your fat reserves, as a source of energy. You're only using carbohydrate. I don't know if you guys have heard about keto diet. That's one of the idea behind keto diet, right? So my recommendation is nutrient dense meal. You need your carbohydrate, but make sure it's whole complex carbohydrate. Reduce the amount of carbohydrate you're having and space out your food, how you have your food. And you don't have to eat too frequently, because when you eat too frequently, you're spiking the insulin. Remember, this should be a takeaway. Each time you put that food before you, think about what's gonna happen. Okay, I'll give you guys an example. My daughter just celebrated her birthday and I decided to buy some junk food for them. And I ordered the food. So when they brought the food, I took a portion and I kept it right before me and I said, can I? It was so nice and so tempting. I looked at it, I said, what? Can I have this? Can I have? I did have a bite or two. And the next thing I said to myself, if you eat that, what is it gonna do to you? I said, insulin spike. Insulin spike will reduce metabolism and you are gonna gain weight. Am I saying you shouldn't like indulge? No, sometimes we indulge, but not what you do all the time. So that's where discipline comes in. There are times, time for party, times for weddings, time for birthdays. There are occasions where you want to eat that cake or indulge in that processed food. So, but it's not a regular habit, okay? But when you are involved in eating this way on a regular basis, your insulin is always spiked and you have what is called insulin resistance and your metabolism is low, which means even though you're not eating fatty food, you see that you're still gaining weight or you're very slow in losing weight. So the idea or the takeaway here now is try to space out your food, reduce the carbohydrate you eat, and when you eat your carbohydrate, it should be complex whole carbohydrate, not processed carbohydrate. And then do not take away your fat from your food. You actually need a healthy fat in your meal. Do not take away protein. You need protein. So if you're on a weight loss journey, I want to recommend this. Don't focus on losing weight. Always focus on eating healthy. Like if you try every day, eat your food, make sure whatever it is that is set before you, it's a healthy option of food. Go ahead and eat it. Don't say, oh, I'm eating this because I want to lose weight. Eat it because it's healthy. Eat it because it's going to fix your cells and give you energy. Eat it because that's what your body requires to heal itself, not because you want to lose weight. And when you begin to eat this way, you find that you begin to lose weight, you begin to feel energetic, you begin to feel happier, and you begin to, feel more motivated. And then once a week, you can pick up that scale and check your weight. And if you're not losing weight, do not feel bad. Like I said, focus on eating healthy, making the right options of food for you. Okay, and again, another tip is fasting. I need you to incorporate fasting in your daily lifestyle. Fasting, I know fasting might not be okay for everyone. There are those who are like really facing a healthy challenge that you cannot fast, but you can always find out with your primary care provider if you can fast. Remember, I know we all fast when we sleep and then wake up, our body is in a state of fasting. You can stretch it. Like for me, I stretch mine till noon and then have what is called brunch or whatever you have it. But make sure when you break your fast, at whatever time you break your fast, make sure you're having, like I said, your carbohydrate, your protein, your vegetables, water, all spaced out throughout the whole day till when you end your last meal. Your last meal can be like a complex carbohydrate diet. You can have your fatty meal, and when we talk about fats, we're talking basically about like the oil you use, the avocado, healthy sources of oil. You can check my videos, you see where I talked about healthy sources of fats. All right, your protein, your complex carbohydrate, eliminating processed food, eliminating sugar, eliminating all soda. So when you have your nutrient dense meal spaced out throughout the whole day, you're doing yourself a lot of good. Okay, but incorporate fasting. You can stretch your breakfast to brunch, or you can do it whatever way you like. Some people do it every other day, but when you fast, a lot of things are healthy things happen in your body, because when you fast, remember, your insulin is shut down, is on a lockdown, and you're using your glycogen, and when you run out of glycogen, your fat reserve is being used, is unlocked, and you're breaking fats using as a source of energy. And think about when you haven't eaten and you go out for that morning walk, or you go on that treadmill, or you go on that high intensity dance. Like I like dancing a lot. When you dance a lot, you raise up your heart rate. That helps with metabolism. Anything that can make you active, that will help raise your metabolism. So activity, fasting, eating the right kind of food, making sure you have your carbohydrate, protein, the vegetables, the healthy fats incorporated in your meal. Do not eliminate anyone, except if you have like food allergies, or there's some medical conditions that it's not that doesn't incorporate that food in your meal. But you need the carbohydrate, you need your protein, the healthy fats, you need water, because your body needs it, especially to get the source of energy, to repair the body, to make the vitamins. So your food sources, the three component of food, is very, very important. Okay, so fasting is a very good one. If you haven't started, try it. You can start like 2 hours, 3 hours. That way your insulin is in a lockdown. All right, and you're using both glycogen, and when you run out of glycogen, like I said, you're going to be breaking down lipids, or the fats in the body. Okay, so I don't think I've missed anything, but there's so many ways of increasing your metabolism. Make sure you're getting good sleep, your 8 hours of sleep, you're reducing stress, and self-care, okay? And I think I'm gonna do about self-care in a different video entirely. Okay, so metabolism, how quick you break down food and use up that energy, and the source of energy that you're using is very important to speed up your metabolism and maintain that healthy weight, or lose that unhealthy fat. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. If you haven't subscribed, please, I need you to subscribe, share my videos, like, comment also, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye and stay blessed.